ED, probably one of the most consistent struggles people have when they're speaking English is how to pronounce the ED at the end of words in the past tense. But we're gonna solve this problem right now. For those of you who don't know, my name is Jordana. I'm Brazilian and I'm an English teacher, absolutely obsessed with English. And this is something that is very common that I see a lot of people struggling with, which is how to pronounce the ED at the end of words in the past. Most people don't know how to pronounce them, and most people don't know that there are actually 3 different ways to pronounce the ED at the end of words in the past tense. And we're going to go through all of those 3 ways, different ways to pronounce them right now. So let's start by, I want to explain first the difference between a voiced sound and a voiceless sound, because we're going to need that. The first thing we need to keep in mind is that a voiceless sound is when we are blowing air out of our mouths and we are not turning our voice on. What do I mean with not turning our voices on? It means that this little vibration that you feel right here when you speak, we're not gonna make that. So for example, let's use the sound for the P word. The P word sound is P, P. If you put your hand right here, you're gonna notice that your vocal cords are not going to vibrate when you make that sound. P, P, P. It's just air coming out. P, P. Which means that your voice is turned off right here, right about here. But when we pronounce a vowel, for example, any of the vowels, ah, if you put your hand right here, you're gonna feel your vocal cords vibrating, and that means that your voice is turned on. That is a voiced sound, and the p, p is a voiceless sound. Okay, why does that matter? It matters because the way we're going to pronounce the ED at the end of words depends on what is the sound we're going to make right before the ED. So for example, voiceless words, the words that right before the ED, we have sounds of P, F, S, C, H, S, H, and K. Those are all voiceless sounds. So P, F, S, Sh, Ch, and those are all voiceless sounds. We are going to pronounce the ED with a T sound. So a few words as an example. Typed, or stuffed, or hoped, or helped. So notice that I'm not saying helped or helped. I'm saying helped. There's a t sound at the end. So the ED will be pronounced with a T sound. But when we have voiced sounds, and those are the V, M, N, L, R, J, G, TH, the voiced TH, because we have the voiceless TH, Z, B, and NG, so V, M, N, L, R, J, G, Th, Z, B, and Ng, Ng. Those are all the voiced sounds, plus all the vowels, because all of the vowels are voiced. We are going to pronounce the ED with a D sound. So we're going to drop the E and we're just going to pronounce the D. So lived, harmed, called, phoned. So right now I'm not pronouncing with the T sound like I was before. So listen to the difference. With the T sound, we will say hoped, hoped. But with the D sound, we will say lived, lived. So we have the T and D, T, D. Okay? All right. And then we have the third way of pronouncing the ED at the end of words, which is when we have the T and the D sound right before the ED, then we will actually pronounce the ED, id, id. We will pronounce it with this sound, id, id. So for example, voted or waited, sounded. So doing a quick recap here. The three ways to pronounce the ED at the end of words in the past tense are either with the T sound, t, t, with the D sound, d, d, and with the id, with the ED sound, id, id. And then we have words like hoped, lived, and voted. Now I want to do a test with you guys. I'm going to put a word right here on the screen, and I want you to pronounce it the way you think it should be pronounced, the ED at the end of the word, and then I'm going to tell you the right answer, okay? So the first word. How would you pronounce this word with the t, d, or id sound? This one you should be pronouncing as minded with the id sound, minded. Okay, second one. How would you pronounce this word? So this word you should pronounce with the d, with the D sound, because we have the R sound, which is voiced right after the ED. That's the R sound. So we say discovered, discovered, discovered. All right, last one. This one you should pronounce with a T sound, t, because we have the K sound, which is voiceless right before the ED. So baked, baked, with the T sound. All right, so I want you guys to start paying attention to these words before you say them. It's not that I want you to start overthinking every time you see words or every time you want to say words, but I want you to actually take some time during the day and start practicing those words, you know? All right, so what I want you guys to do right now is I want you to download the resource that I added to this video, which is a list of different words that you should pronounce with the T sound or the D sound or the id sound when we have words in the past tense with the ED in the past tense. And I want you guys to practice saying those words, you know, because I don't want you to overthink every time you have to speak. That's not the time to practice. I want you to take a few minutes every day and practice those words, because then when you speak, that's going to come naturally to you, you know? So take some time, few minutes every single day to practice those words, and then you will see the difference when you speak. I hope you guys liked this conversation, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to comment down below if you have questions or suggestions of things you want to learn, things you want us to talk about here. And also, if you liked this conversation, don't forget to actually show it and give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.